Thank you, Abhishek. And I welcome all the eminent speakers today in the wonderful summit that is on higher and technical education, Tamil Nadu. So I really like to welcome Dr. R.M. Suresh, Pro Vice Chancellor, Bharat Institute of Education and Research, Chennai. Dr. S. Padmavati, Principal Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Sashum Jain College for Women, Chennai. Professor Dr. K.P. Isaac, Vice Chancellor, Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science, Chennai. Dr. K. Maran, Director, Sairam Institute of Management Studies, Sairam Engineering College, Chennai. Dr. V. Venkatchalam, Principal, Erode Sengunthar Engineering College, Erode. I really like to welcome all of you in today's session. Sir, so today,
good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir. And we are in a very important topic today right now, because we are, the topic is about setting a roadmap for the children in future with AI and the new education policy, which we are going to discuss, and about the skill, how a skill is important. So I would first like to, question Shri Dr. R.M. Suresh, sir. Sir, what are your views? How skill is important, and how can we set the roadmap for the students?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a wonderful thing to be part of this session with the ELATs, which makes everybody to share their knowledge and informations to the society. First, I feel that the skill set is very, very essential for the children. At the moment, this Government of India had made that new education policy as national education policy being introduced. And this, I personally feel that COVID is not a pandemic, it's a challenge, and it's a great opportunity for everybody to showcase the talents and transform themselves to enrich the education as entertainment, education-tainment. It's something like where learning has to take up, gamification also should take up with the simulation, where number of tools which are available all over the world, and that must be known to the children. And where I propose that the government should introduce, along with the skill sets, what they make the children to study from their education at higher education level. Like before they get into higher education, there should be a kind of cell. It's called counseling cell, where it's something, an example I could show. When you get into the hospital for COVID treatment, the hospital now gives a clear-cut explanation about the status of the patient, that this is what is supposed to be your condition. And if you admit into the hospital, you'll have to undergo treatment for a week or a couple of weeks or until you recover. And the average cost that you should undergo is something thus. So, something a clear-cut explanation being given to the patient by the hospital, I expect a clear-cut explanation by the authorized counseling cell, which should be established with the approval of government for every candidate before they get into higher education. Guy, you had this desire, you have this skill, and with this desire, with this skill and interest, if you get into this kind of course, I'm sure your career will be the best possible. So with the challenges, with the opportunities which are being available in front of him, if a career counseling cell being initiated by government and approves the government, that cell is being approved by the government, and I'm sure every student and every parent, that would be a kind of information to make them a kind of clear roadmap to set up their career, not mere job for the matter, it's lifelong career that will definitely suit for him as well as suit the society. Something like what's coming up in the new era called gig economy and probably Uberization. I want to say something like a global education. Maybe in the next round, I would talk about something more about Uberization. With global education and globalization on economy, we would bring out a new kind of concept called Uberization. Maybe that's being followed in some part of the world, but not every part of the world. Probably I would like to introduce this concept in India, and where the students or the graduates will definitely be a good graduates to the society, useful to the society. Thank you.
Very true, sir. Very true. I mean, it is really needed, and it is the need of the hour. Dr. KP Isaac, sir, what are your views on this?
Thank you, and very good evening to all of you, Ms. Hemangini and my fellow panelists. The topic for discussion today is building progressive, innovative, and skilled future of students. I can summarize this into a different way, where I can say that it is a roadmap for grooming good citizens for our country. That's what we in education, the educational institutions are doing. So what should be our roadmap for grooming good citizens in our country? So that is probably the one which this small short discussion which we are having, building progressive, innovative, and skilled students of the future. I mean, that is for them to equip them. See, we have been listening so far that knowledge is the power. I think that that is true. There's no doubt about it. But now we can have another phrase coined, which could be character is power. So ethics is forming part of our education. Ethics is either to be taught or to be practiced. See, if you look at any institution, any industry, everybody has a value statement. We at Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science, we have a value statement, which starts with integrity. I mean, in other words, I mean, actually, our value statement is integrity, innovation, and internationalization. So that is the focus with which we are working. That's the values. So the integrity is the major part which is coming into the education system. So we have to work with the industries and the government by providing the knowledge, the skills, and the ethics part, which we call it as the attitude. We will have to have innovations and discoveries and innovation happening for social accounting. See, if you look at, we always talk about AI-powered future or futuristic engineering, wherein we always, what we normally wanted to impart to our students who joining in our institutions is called design thinking, product design. They will be discussing, they'll be doing and appreciating the social issues. This is what we have been practicing in Hindustan also. That is a project-based learning wherein the students are exposed to social issues. So for example, I know that a lot of students and faculty have been involved in our institute to fight this COVID pandemic. They have developed several gadgets and systems to fight for it. But one problem which I find in the whole process is that when you talk about AI-powered future or something, more focus is given and trying to teach them a set of theories which are rigid, a set of skills which are to produce identically programmed specimens. The more emphasis is now being given to artificial intelligence, wherein we are trying to teach the students like a factory model of education where we are going to produce identically programmed specimens. This is something which I find that a wrong practice where a lot of industries, a lot of I mean, in the sense, the institutions which are trying to help the academic institutions are trying to tell them that AI is required, so you learn this. Instead of making them really a creative person. See, if you look at it, this is the focus which a national education policy also has it. So what actually is required is to build a person with creativity, with communication skills, and with confidence. So this, our education has to be focused with this, but probably I would add coding also, because we have got to create people for that. So the students will have to be innovative. They have to be reflective and critical in designing new models, products, systems, and tools to benefit the society. So this is what for which we have got to do it, and this is why what I wanted to tell the whole audience here is that this is the focus which I have been giving as the Vice Chancellor of the Hindustan Institute of Technology, solving the real world problems, wherein with which we are trying to do the character as part of the thing and the capability building exercise. Are you a good person? Can you communicate? Do you know how to be vulnerable? Do you know how to collaborate effectively with others? Can you be a good leader? So our education policies like the NAP and other things, and each individual institution has to build our education system of teaching, learning, and research in such a way that every student who undergoes the courses will have to be a good person who can communicate, who have to be vulnerable, who have to collaborate efficiently with others, and to be a good leader. And for that, we have to be in the practice so that we will be able to tackle the problem of the change in the technology, for which the future technologies, for which how to train our students for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very rightly said. I mean, we have to prepare our students for future and how AI is so important nowadays. And I would like to, Dr. K. Manan, Director of Sairam Institute. Sir, what are your views? I mean, how would you prepare students, because industry needs a changing now, and our industries are changing, their requirements are changing. So how do you think we can prepare our students for future?
Yeah, very nice questions. First of all, I would like to thank LH Educations Private Limited, organizing very excellent panel discussions pertaining to the higher educations. Today, the education is empowering of every individual in the world. Without education, nothing is possible. Even during this pandemic period, the medical educations, pharmaceutical educations, genetics-based and various technology-based educations combined together to safeguard up entire world people. So education is empowering of every individual, not only individual, the institutional level empowering, whole India level empowering. So in this great aspect, you are putting up wonderful questions, how the industries are changing or expecting from the students' aspect. Based on my observations and my experience in my educational field for the past 2.5 decades, there are 3 dimensions I observed. The first 2 dimensions are based on the knowledge and skills. Without knowledge, without skills, we never emphasize anything in the world. So the knowledge is one of the powerful weapon or tool. So as a teacher, as a curriculum, as institutions, we have more responsibility framing very excellent curriculum on par with the international exposure, industry exposures. Without the curriculums, we never do anything. I think the industry people expectations, even today people are talking about artificial intelligence, augmented realities, and so many, what you call it, the future skills. So the future skills software is one of the basic common. But at the same time, the artificial intelligence for whom, as a science graduates or engineering graduates, you can use the data science. The biggest mathematics and statistics students also can use the data science, artificial intelligence, or what you call it, the data science. Even the management students also can do like this, or economic students also can do like that, or finance and chartered accountant also can do like that. So we can preparing students at n number of phases, n number of dimensions. So as a teacher, when you are preparing very excellent curriculum and you are teaching pedagogy, you are a core responsibility persons to enhancing students' skills as well as knowledge. Without knowledge, we can't do anything. At the same time, this is an academic aspect, the knowledge and skills, experiment-based knowledge, industry-based knowledge, and other projects-oriented, immersion project, social relevance project, there are any number of dimensions you have to put in. Then another one aspect, any human resource manager, the HR manager, the HR perspective is not only in terms of technical skills, not only in terms of knowledge, at the same time, their expectations in terms of students' attitude is very, very important. Students' attitude is more important. Students' behavior is more important. At the same time, you try to find out your emotional intelligence. Instead of that intelligence quotient, what type of emotional quotient based students, whether the guy is able to set our environment, he can able to adapt to the environment, he can able to accept the environment. So that kind of personal values, the human values, personal values, life values very, very important. So the industry's expectations, not only in terms of knowledge and skills, at the same time, the people attitude, people behavior, people characteristics, people dedication, people involvement, people initiatives, and adapting of himself. This is another one aspect. At the same time, the third aspect, what industry is required, that is the presence of mind is very, very important. Whether the guy is adaptable for my environment. I think these three things are very, very important. At the same time, whether the students or what can be able to update himself. So the update in the sense, what I'm here, even as a teacher, the industrialist or any people, you always keep on updating yourself. When you are update and upgrade yourself, you will not be outdated. If you are failing to update, you will be outdated in this field, even the industrial field. So that this is the way as the institutional, the faculty members, the core faculties, we need to be focused our students in different dimensions, which is called 360-degree preparations, molding of students, preparing students, shaping students for the industries. When you are preparing students for the industries, then the guy would be able to stand in different dimensions. But what I'm saying as a teacher, as an educationalist, I am focused more on social aspect. The social skills very, very important. Without social skills, we never do anything. Without social problem solving skills very, very important. Then the presence of mind, intelligence, then the knowledge based, the technology based. So we trained our students in different dimensions. Unless otherwise, that gentleman will not matching with the industry expectations. So these are the way the industry people expecting from the students aspect and institutional aspect. But as a teacher, when you are understanding ourselves, when you are understanding the students' mind and the industry expectations and social expectations, then we can able to change the students' mind. That's what the teaching is one of the powerful tool to changing students' mind. The students' mind can be able to change the entire society mind. So the teaching is one of the powerful tool rather than the latest technology which are available. But we must use such technologies. Without technologies, we never enhancing, empowering our performances. So these are all the expectations which are expected by the industries. So according to that, we need to prepare our students. This is my small observations. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And very true, 360-degree is very important. I would move to Dr. V. Venkatachalam. Sir, what are your opinion on this? I mean, how can we prepare students for future?
Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
So first of all, I thank Mr. Ravi Gupta, the CEO of LX Technology, for nicely organizing this digital transformation conclave, starting from the morning, from the NAC advisor, Shyam Sundaris, and lot of vice chancellors and other people. So you have deliberated very well. So now we are moving to the last session, that is the roadmap for building progressive, innovative, and skilled future of the students. So as rightly pointed out by the Vice Chancellor Dr. Isaac and the Pro Vice Chancellor Dr. R.M. Suresh and Dr. Maran. So this is a very important topic to be discussed. So in which we can categorize into skill development, the changing needs of the industry, the innovation requirements, the requirements of the new courses, artificial intelligence and augmented reality, the role of the teachers. Starting from the skill development, so a lot of actions have been taken by the MHRD and AICT also now started this vocational training. So these vocational training are now playing an important role for the future of the students. So and this should not be taught as a separate subject. So this should be integrated into the curriculum. And now the universities and autonomous institutions are now already started integrating these vocational skill sets required for the students. So a lot of skill sets like problem solving, decision making, and collaborating, all these things are required for the students. So we have to give much importance for vocational skill training, and a lot of funding also has been provided by the AICT in terms of vocational skills. They have started this PMKVY, and they are funding to the institutions for providing this vocational training. And all these things are good things happening. And now this new education policy is mainly focusing on this vocational training. That is a very right direction they are moving. And considering these changing needs of the industry, so what we have to do is, so we have to bring the industry into the institution interaction system, and curriculum linked with the industry has to be introduced. So for example, a laboratory with the help of the industry to set up in the institution, and students should be trained in that particular laboratory. So that will be very much useful for the students in the industry. So in that way, we can bridge the gap between the industry and institution. And also, so we have to frequently depute the students to the industry. Not only the students, the staff members also must go for deputation to the industry for 2 months or 3 months during the vacation period. So then only that full-fledged implementation of industry into the curriculum will be happening. So that is very much important. And again, the innovation part, the AICT has now started the Institute Innovation Council. So that is a very good move. And all the institutions are now insisting the students to do some projects that to develop an innovative project, all these things they are now doing. So every semester, we have to insist the students to develop a particular innovative module. So for that, what we have to do is, we have to tie up with the alumni or with the nearby industries and identify the problems in the industries, and that problems to be given to the students, and the students can develop a solution for that problem. So in that way, we can inculcate innovation in our curriculum. So that will help the students for their own startup, or when they are going to the industry, they will be an industry ready person. So that is very much important now. And regarding this AI and augmented reality, a lot of research and a lot of startups and a lot of fundings are going on in this field. And many colleges have now started these courses, this artificial intelligence and data science. And they are integrating this artificial intelligence into this augmented reality. So that is very much happening. And now the Google and the Microsoft, they are investing a huge amount in these areas. So one such example is Occipital Bridge, where this augmented reality and AI are already combined together. That has given a very good solution. And many such research areas are going on. And this introduction of artificial intelligence is very much important. Even in this COVID situation, this artificial intelligence and data science is playing a vital role in predicting when this pandemic will complete and when all the countries will recover from this situation. This artificial intelligence is playing a major role. So much importance to be given to this artificial intelligence and augmented reality, and how to implement all these things. So to implement all these things, the teacher's role is very, very important. So the teacher has to update regularly their qualification as well as they have to undergo some industrial training, and they have to develop some projects in association with the students. Then only this will be carried over to the students. Unless otherwise the teachers are updated and they are put into the industry, definitely the teachers must work in the industry for at least 2 to 3 months every semester, so that like, they can learn something and that will be carried forward to the students. This is very much essential, and in the new education policy also, much importance is given for the training the teachers, and a lot of funding has also been allocated for training the teachers. These are all my views, madam. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. And it was very important insights you have given, sir. And I think the same I would like to ask Dr. S. Padmavati. Ma'am, what are your views on, building a roadmap on progressive, innovative and skilled future for students? So what do you think, how can we build this? Ma'am, you are on mute, ma'am. You need to unmute, I think.
A very good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the opportunity given. And the erudite scholars who have accompanied me in this panel, I'm amazed by those speakers talking about setting up of a counseling cell and building up a character and values, and how MHRD has already planned. What I would like to simply add here is that I would like to share some of the experiences and some of the initiatives that we have developed at our college, Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Sashun Jain College for Women, T Nagar, Chennai. The idea or the roadmap that I would suggest is the holistic education in the higher education system. There are 6 components which we have identified and started practicing on. The first one is unlearning and induction. The unlearning is that as a teachers, we need to make the students unlearn some of the typical thoughts, the mindset, the behavior, the attitude, and not only unlearn, but refresh their mind with full of positive and progressive energy. As the first speaker pointed out that the counseling cell, what I would mean is the UGC laid down as Diksharambh. That is the induction program, which will definitely give the guidelines as to what is higher education and how the student can make himself progress in this particular field. The second one that I would like to touch upon is the liberalization of choosing the subject. We all know that the students have very limited, though they have a lot of choices towards the subject, but who actually decides the subject? Sometimes it's the peer, sometimes it's the parent, sometimes it's the teacher of the school, or sometimes it's the teacher of the college themselves. I do not mean about the program that they choose, but the non-major, like the speaker was mentioning about the multidisciplinary approach, a chemistry student taking up an accounting package. So that kind of a choice of selection and liberalization in choosing should be given, because I feel the age of 19 is the right age for people to think and take a decision. If they do not take the decision at this age, when will they take? So the system, of course, the new education policy also has got liberalization as one of the component. And so the society, as a teacher, we, the parents, everyone should allow the student to think on it. And as a teacher, the role of a teacher here is make the student aware about what the course is all about, what the subject is all about, where will it take him or her if they take about it, and create all the career opportunities that is available open to him, so that he can think multifaceted and logically and rationally he makes a decision. The third one that I would like to speak, and which we are all talking about, is learning methodologies. As a teacher, I need to bring in innovation in my learning technology. And the learning nowadays happen even the student before coming to the class, and it continues even after they move out of the classroom. So for example, flipped classroom was a concept which was introduced. And for the flipped classroom, the learning happens before they come into the class, and it continues even after. And so how lively I make my class. I have to make an experimental and illustrative class so that the students feel very interesting. Say, for example, the Google is available. Why do I need a teacher? Teacher cannot be replaced. If the teacher thinks in terms that more than a Google, I will be able to give much more knowledge sharing with my student, understand that the students also have potential, probably would bring in a wonderful result for the students to grow. The second thing is the blended learning versus technology. I'm a strong believer that traditional teaching is a very strong method, but nowadays it demands that we need to go in for ICT modes. But for that, during pandemic, I don't think so. Learning would have continued. And so we need to have blended learning technologies. And as the previous speaker pointed out, the teachers need to upgrade. There should be a learning and development center which is available in the college. It is apart from the faculty development or the quality improvement program. We need to have a teacher training program development center which actually caters, and every college with the small efforts, they can build up a unique learning management system which will bring them everything together. The traditional method of teaching along with the blended learning will bring in lot of nuances into the pattern. And the next one that I would like to touch upon is the value addition. The speakers have already told about it here. The value addition does not mean offering the value added courses or certificate courses. It's more than the interpersonal skills, the soft skills. And more than that, do I give a way for my student to take up a form of an art? It could be rowing, it could be flying, it could be music, it could be dance, it could be opera, and all kinds of sports. And we should allow our students to get interacted with many of the forums and clubs. Let us not limit only to NSS or NCC, more than that. And how community reach programs, how many of the reach programs they really take part, and they should become a member of all the professional bodies. Because if you want to become an entrepreneur or a skilled labor, or a skilled employee or a civil servant, all these are very, very important. So as an institution and as a teacher, that should be given to the students in whole. And the final one, which I would like to touch upon, is the skill development. I happen to hear Madam Shyamala, who is a motivational speaker. She says that mere academic qualification is just a pizza base. Yes, who would like to take the pizza base? Who would like to eat the pizza base? Unless and otherwise the toppings are there. We will be amazed if you go and sit in a pizza corner where a 6-year-old child is able to give a variety of toppings that is there. The role of a teacher here is there should not be any mismatch of the toppings. We need to give proper matching so that the skill development is very important, as we need to have self-sustainability and self-sufficiency. During pandemic, we all want to avoid products of China. Yes, we have to. But at the same time, we need to think that, are we self-sufficient? Do we have the enough skills? As a teacher, did we impart the enough skills? So it is right time that we all think that enough skills has to be imparted in the young minds so that they become more creative and they flourish well. Be it they, let them be an entrepreneur, or let them take up any profession, or they take employment. No matter, skills are important. They have to foresee what is going to happen in future. We talk about AI. See, IoT is now from agriculture to aeronautics. Even an agriculturist use IoT. I would say principle from Erode is there. A person sitting in a village is innovating something. So as a teachers, I would like, ma'am, though we all the stakeholders have a role to play, but being a teacher for more than 2 decades, I feel that it is our bound and responsibility to relook into and let me start learning from myself. Holistic education says that it's a lifelong learning. Let us not stop learning. If teacher starts learning, I think we can build up a better nation. And that's all I would like to say. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
True, Dr. Padmavati. I think very rightly said, because teachers are the pillar. So they have to be on toe. But just as a student, it is very challenging for a teacher also nowadays.
Yes.
To adapt that new technology which is coming up. So Dr. R.M. Suresh, my question to you, I mean, how a teacher, as it is very challenging for teachers also, what do you think, how can we prepare teachers, how teachers should be prepared for this new challenging times? Sir, you need to unmute, sir. You need to unmute. Yes.
Yes, it's nice. Dr. Padmavati had elaborated very well. Good, nice presentation. I really, it was appealing to me. Like,
yes.
As far as teacher role is concerned, teacher is not a mere teacher who teaches the concept. He's a guide. He's a philosopher. He's a friend. He's a motivator. He's one among the family member. He's also a peer. So he has multifaceted person. He is a multifaceted personality. Either he or she, for the matter, he should be first a friend. He should gain the confidence of a student. Once he gains the confidence, he is a winner. And the student being the best forever. You all heard this WhatsApp message like, a teacher for an army man, a teacher for Google Pichai, Sundar Pichai. Sundar Pichai all the way traveled from US to meet his teacher at Mysore. A teacher who is basically a philanthropist, who is basically a good motivator, makes the student to perform the best, for example. So right now, if a teacher, being a teacher, wanted to teach everything to the student at the current scenario, where Facebook is out of the trend, IBM even being out of the trend, Intel being out of the trend, so it's a role of the teacher to learn, enrich, enhance, and make the transformation with all the fellow buddies. So here in Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, we established a very good community as a friendly environment by the teaching. And that way, every student love to learn and love to produce, love to innovate very many things. Believe me, we made something about 400 attempts for filing a patent in a year. How come that's possible? It's otherwise impossible. Only with the teachers and teaching fraternity here makes a kind of motivation with young buddies who could come forward with a lot of innovations with very many tools available, make the transformations possible and bring out to the society in such a way that it's going to be a wonder. So if teacher enhance himself and make as a winner among all the students, as a friend, he can make the society with all kind of blended technology very useful to the society. Believe me, we made one of the wonderful tool called voice-enabled wheelchair. Right now, the wheelchair with a control of multi-language. It could be a Telugu, it could be a Tamil, it could be a Hindi person, Hindi-speaking person. I could be only knowing English with a multi-language voice-enabled wheelchair. If he uses his own language, the wheelchair comes to him. If he is a physically challenged person. So such a kind of innovation to the society needed with just 25,000 rupees, it was possible. And we are making one another with our biotechnology like transparent pipe. So making a transparent pipe which is easily available for a flow of a water, flow of anything for the matter, which need of the are today to the society being made out. So there are about 400 such kind of innovations which are happening with our inventory cell and innovation cell which is happening, and a lot of students who are coming forward, setting up the record with Book of Records. Our management department has done a wonderful case study for 24 hours case study being presented, and they won India Book of Records Award. So such kind of things are happening here where students are involving themselves with the teaching fraternity and making the best possible need of the hour, need of the product to the society, and that makes even pandemic run away from us, right? So here, as far as I wanted to say one particular point, that pandemic made the challenges which are open for everybody, where rightly said by Madam, artificial intelligence or IoT for the matter, this artificial intelligence where robo combined together teaches a lot of fast innovation. And we made that. We made that kind of teaching as a fast innovation to the students, make use of that kind of tool called Ubuntu. There's another tool called Ubuntu which made the students to have a e-learning the best possible with our innovation cell. So I think a teacher being a best friend to the students who come forward to learn and show the right path for the matter. So many of the students, in fact, who join do not know where is the destination for them. If the destination is very clearly identified by the mentor, by the guide, as a teacher, he is the best winner. So no doubt about it. That's my view as far as teaching community is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was really wonderful to know. And sir, I think to Dr. KP Isaac, the same question is for you also, sir. I mean, one thing is, do we, as you told about AI, integration of AI and AR, do we need a new course of for students with AI and AR integration? And if so, how can we prepare our teachers for the same?
Okay. The point here is the majority of the jobs our current education system is preparing our children will be irrelevant by the time they are adults. If you look at the statistics, 65% of the primary school children will end up working in jobs that don't even exist today. That means by the time they graduate, the primary school children graduate, they will end up working in jobs that don't even exist today. So everybody in the process of their employment will have to get updated, and they have got to deliver that to the students. So the teachers also will be keep on doing research. So that is why research is becoming a part of the teaching assignment and consultancy. These are part of the teaching assignments wherein you are exposed to the state of the art and future technologies for which we are researching. If you do the research in that, you can deliver what is happening. So this is what the creativity type of things which a teacher will have to get exposed. And this is something which I don't think it can happen with a training. It is something which has to be as a passion and inborn capability of the faculty has to come. If we talk about training, and I wanted to tell you very sad thing is that you will have to excuse me for that statement, because most of the teachers, what they do is, here also I saw somebody asking me a certificate for attending this session. So, why I'm trying to tell is that teachers will have to take it as a passion with a research mindset, with a clear focus of improving, innovating, because one of the objectives of our education system is that we have got to equip the present day students to learn what is there in the future. I do not know. Today you talk about artificial intelligence. Now what we are doing is you are training the students on AI, which will have a different form of AI after 10 years. How do you train them for the next 10 years, beyond 10 years? I don't know. So that is where each person will have to get that training by which you adapt to a situation which, every time it's keep on changing. You cannot be constant. I have been taught something in my college days. Probably if I start teaching the same thing to the students, nobody will be there to listen to that. Probably, I think what I do is that what is current, the state of the art in each one, and the future technologies. So each one will have to understand that the learning is a continuous process from your birth to your death. So this is a point which every teacher will have to understand, and coupled with the research, and somebody rightly pointed out, we want a change mindset. See, the problem, I tell you, I give you an example. I'm a civil engineer basically. Retrofitting and building is very difficult. Constructing a new building is very easy for me. So retrofitting the system or a change management is quite complex and difficult. So, but if you have the mindset tuned to that, to forget have a change in the archaic rules, the Jambavan way of things happening. So you have to make changes to happen and adapt to the new things so that you will become a successful teacher, and that is your profession. I think I have wanted, what I wanted to convey is that really is that the technology is changing, everything is changing. So you will become a continuous lifelong learner. And that is one of the primary objectives of your outcomes, which we wanted the students to have it at the end of your education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It is very important that you have discussed this. It is continuously we have to change, we have to upgrade ourselves, and it is very necessary. And same, Dr. K. Maran, sir, what are your views on this? I mean, you know, as you say that it is about 360-degree learning, right? So what do you think, as Madam said, regarding the traditional teaching method we had before this pandemic, right? And now everything has changed. We are all on the virtual platform. So do you think after this pandemic also, I mean, once we'll be away from this corona and everything, do you think it will still continue, or we will be again back to the traditional learning method, or we will do the both ways? What are your views, sir?
Okay, very excellent. Both traditional as well as modern. Why? Because before the pandemic period, 95% of the faculty members in any institutions, any type of institutions, people which are used only the traditional teaching methods. The way of traditional teaching methods, which is highly influence our students' mind to change, which is really correct, 100%. I'm also doing something. Even before pandemic period, I used to start some of the courses in my program through online or the digital mode, and etc., etc. But today, this pandemic situation is 100% we are teaching, we are trying, we are accessing only through the digital and enlightening of my students' mind in different dimensions. Even the pandemic period, what I can do, I try to use in different methods, classrooms, because I have forced to stand in the classrooms, but I try to exhibit in different dimensions, both online or virtual or the physical mode. And you have to combine, because students expect something different. Today, the new generations are technology-based generation students, but we need to teach, we need to have use of technology-based generations. Even at the same time, even we are teaching for English literature, or the history, or the geography, or statistics, they have to use of systems-oriented, digital-oriented, online-oriented. So this is the dimensions. Why I am saying the statistics students, because they are the father of the data science today. People are fighting over challenge, they are fighting for data science. Who are based? The statistics students are based on the data science. Then the students can able to understanding Python or C, Java, and other learning aspect, virtual learning aspect that students should be prepared as a great data scientist. Those days we not only in Blackboard, what is that? Median, standard deviation, correlations, relations. But I can use some of my systems. That's why the system of learning, the digital learning is highly influenced on my students. Definitely, 50% of teachers can able to using both physical, the classroom teachings as well as digital system. And my observation, so what is the role of the teachers in the society? The teachers are pillar for the country, teachers are pillar for the society. Without teachers, nothing, I have already told you. The teachers only create without your dad, mom, or God. The result of all these things in the world, the teachers only creating. Even from the great lawyer, the great economist, great technocrat, great prime minister, great whoever me. So everyone teaching, teachers teach. In what way I can be a great teacher. I should be a role model for the students, first of all. I should be a role model for the students. You should emphasize about yourself. Who am I? What I can? What do you want to be? So the kind of self-confidence is very, very important. As a teacher, whatever the course, whatever the program you are teaching to the students, that self-confidence level is very, very important. What self-confidence levels? I think who am I? So going to do. The social aspect in teaching, entrepreneurial teaching is very, very important. Technology-based teaching is very important. The current affairs is very important. Whatever the course you are teaching, sir, you should mix like 2.5 hours free. So what they are doing, fighting, boxing, sensitive, family, so much of mixing. So like that in your classroom, whatever the subject you are taking, you try to mix in different dimensions, then definitely you can shape your students for the community. The teacher's role is very, very important. You should be a role model. You should be highly ethical. You should be a good governance. Without that, we never engaging students, we never elevating students, we never sustaining our students' life in the competitive market, even during or after pandemic period. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think I'll just move to V. Venkatachalam, sir, also on this. Sir, what are your views on integration of AI and AR in the course?
Actually, I already pointed out, madam, the integration of AI and augmented reality is happening in a lot of fields. And the new course has been introduced by ASVT this year. That is an artificial intelligence and data science. That also includes this augmented reality. So this augmented reality now playing a major role in even in the teaching also. A lot of modelings and all these things are happening in augmented reality. And for children's games and all these things also is playing an important role. But now what is important is how these things are to be integrated and utilized for practical purpose. That is the problems in the medical field or engineering field or whatever may be. So there it can be integrated and modelings can be developed. So that will be very useful for the industries. So now the industries are, whatever they want to do, they have to develop a prototype or whatever, maybe they have to spend a huge amount. Then only they can realize the problem and that problems can be rectified. By integrating this augmented reality and AI, this can be easily achieved. And even in the medical field, so a lot of developments are now taking place. That is virtual doctors and like that, a lot of things are developing. So there, these things will play an important role. So the future world will be something different from now onwards. So as our Vice Chancellor has pointed out, it's not possible to teach everything to the students. So what we have to do is, so we have to develop the students in such a way that they must know what to learn and how to learn and where from they have to get the details. For these things, these are artificial intelligence and augmented reality are playing a major role. So using these, we can make the students to realize themselves and they make themselves to learn whenever required. So after entering an industry, so the industry diversification will always happen. So at that time, the students must not get stuck up. So if we teach the students how to learn and where to learn and how to use this augmented reality and artificial intelligence, they can adapt themselves to that particular situation and make themselves comfortable with the industry. So even now, so last week also, a particular company has told that after the appraisal, some 25,000 employees have been sent out because of whatever they are not able to implement according to the requirements. So that's why these things will play a major role. So when these things are implemented and the students are trained in these areas, so definitely they will be able to cope up with the whatever situation that will come to them in the industry, and they can manage and they can easily survive in the industry. And the things like sending out from the company will not happen. So they will definitely learn themselves and definitely fit into the industry. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. So we are also at the end of the session now. So I would request all the speakers with their closing remarks for a minute or two. I would like to start with Dr. S. Padmavati. Madam, your remarks on today's session and the takeaways.
Yeah, it's a wonderful session, ma'am, that you have organized a day long. And one more thing I just would like to add along with the speakers, as today it is AI, tomorrow it's BICI, etc., etc. But what is that is missing is the futuristic approach. As Vice Chancellor pointed out, the research is a major component, and teachers should foresee as to what will be there in the next 1 or 2 years, so that the students can be prepared. And collaboration is very important. Not all the colleges or all the universities will be able to set up a AI laboratory or a virtual reality laboratory. So it is a question of collaboration. We need to unite as an educationist and come up with that. And really it was a great session to listen to all the speakers of the panel. I hope, I think the takeaway is that, come on, and we need to be prepared, and there should be a change in the education system, and the teachers have to first start the lifelong learning process. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You are on mute, moderator madam.
Sorry. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. Dr. K.P. Isaac, sir, your views and takeaways, sir.
I did not hear what actually on that. I mean, could you explain?
On today's session.
No. Just to brief it up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good thing. Which see what we have been trying to discuss is that the technology is changing. How do we equip our students to catch up with the changes happening? Will we be able to give the training to the students for a technology which is non-existent or for a future technology? How will you achieve that was the real question. So actually, what I have been pointing out is that apart from the knowledge and the skills, the attitude component, which I have defined it as ethics, where I pointed out how the Hindustan has coined the statement of value statement. So we have got to train our students to be a good person, who can communicate well, who has to be, how to be vulnerable, how to collaborate effectively, and how you can make him a good leader. And the process of learning will continue throughout the life, so that every individual will be able to shift from what he is doing to the new technologies which are adapted. And how the teachers will change is something which we have got to see. And that can happen only if the teacher does the research. And I have normally, whenever I address the meetings like this, I have one advice which is given to the teachers is to stop teaching the way which we are doing it. We have to do it in a different way, by which you can infuse the students to become an innovation with, to create a creative person with innovative ideas and things like that. If we become successful in that process, we can actually train any student, any person to become job ready for the future technologies in the years to come. That is what the summing up of what I wanted to tell in this one. Thank you. Thank you. It's a great opportunity to listen to all these great leaders who have really thought about it and have really given their remarks. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Dr. K. Maran, sir, your closing remarks and your feedback.
This is very, very excellent forum. I think you are,
sir, I think
identifying
your
the problematic area.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. There is an echo there in your voice, so it is disturbing.
Okay, now it's okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, now a bit, yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay, no issues. So I think you have identified the right problem for the scientists. Why? Because the students are really very important for the communities. I think you are decided or identifying the vision statement for the country, for the communities. For the next 20 years or the 20 years, the students are builders. They are next generation for the country and communities. So who can shape? Only the teachers, the higher education. along with technology-based educations. Technology-based educations. I think today, I see almost all panelists very, very highly expertise. The highly expertise knowledge people, education-oriented people. The discussions are all the discussions are pertaining to the quality of education, the performance of the education, result of the education. I think this kind of forum is very, very excellent. Even the digital-based education system, the teachers listen from the leadership staff. Observing is very, very wonderful topic. I think based on my observation, this kind of topic, this kind of motivation is really very, very important for other faculty members. We try to integrate something for our faculty members. Without faculty, we never do anything. That's why we use what often sending our students, our faculty members to take participate in various international faculty development programs. Even in my campus last year, I have organized 2 international faculty development programs exclusively for 2 universities. And also, we have got so many AIC and BP. We never bother, we never admit that faculty is one of the most powerful tools. Wherever, whatever the possibilities, we try to enhance our faculty quality in terms of research and other dimensions. Unless we never sustaining the quality of education in the competitive market. With this, we grateful thank the CEO of the great organization, Health Technology Private Limited, and also one of my dear friend, Mr. Igor, and our today moderator, very excellent job. I think you are nice posted questions to various panelists is very really great. And now my panelists members, those are highly experienced than me. All of my dear friends, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Please, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. V. Venkatachalam, sir, your
as far as the closing remarks are concerned, so what I feel is, as for the students or teachers, a holistic approach is required. So, and interlinking of all these things, whatever we discussed, this vocational training or bridging the gap with the industry or innovations in teaching, developing the teachers' skills and the students. A holistic approach is required. This is what pointed out by all the panelists, and I would like to thank the CEO as well as the moderator for the nice session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Lastly, and sir, Dr. R.M. Suresh, sir, your closing remarks, and we'll end the session today here.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to give a takeaway message to the participants. That we would request everybody to upgrade themselves. This world is having a lot of competitions, especially in the previous session, one such even Chako Valliyappan had said that Harvard University has 4,900 crores as a backup. And if they come into India, what's kind of trend that education institutions need to undergo. So with that kind of intention, here we at Bharat Institute has introduced kind of education model called SAMR, S-A-M-R. S stands for substitution, A stands for augmentation, M stands for modification, and R stands for redefinition. It's something like the first two talks about the enhancement, the last two talks about the transformation, where technology acts as a direct substitute for both functional as well as non-functional improvement, and technology allows for significant task redesign in the modification, and technology allows for new tasks that were previously inconceivable as redefinition. So this model being adopted, and that will be a kind of competition to the world, that existing educational institutions look up themselves to improve, where the education institutions is part of teachers, part of students, part of society members, and all the other stakeholders, including government agencies, which are approving. So if we introduce substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition, I'm sure everything come into a kind of one fold, and one umbrella where everything is being accommodated. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Wonderful.
Thank you. I would really like to thank all the panelists for today, and we have got very wonderful insights and very important insights from this session. So I would like to thank each and every speaker today, and on behalf of eLEDS Technomedia, to even all the attendees, we'll be keep doing such sessions. So stay connected with us through our all the social media handles, from Twitter, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Instagram, and many others. You will get all the updates. You can see this session live on Facebook also, as well as you can see all the updates related to same session on the same handles. And sir, I think there were a few questions. If anyone has any question for this panelist, you can take them. You can go to their social handles. You can ask them. And sir, thank you so much, everyone, for today's session.